Hey everybody, and welcome to a short little overview of Native Instruments' new Symphony Series String Ensemble library. I just pretty much finished the download for this one and had just a short little play around with it, and so I just wanted to kind of recreate the situation of getting first hands on the library and kind of when it's installed and how it behaves and how I can work with it and how it sounds and stuff like that. So hopefully you enjoy joining me for a little exploration of that library. I just was curious, especially regarding the Devz function of that library. So Audiobro, who is the developer of LA scoring strings, is pretty known for recording Devz sections. So when with the LA scoring strings, you had the Devz sections for all individual string sections like violins 1 and 2, violas, celli, and basses, and they kind of improved that concept, or not, I wouldn't really say improved, but they made it a lot easier than it was with the original LA scoring strings with all the Devz sections. So long talk, no sense. I've just done a little cue to check the functions, and it's pretty much just 4 MIDI channels. And so it's violins 1 and 2. It all corresponds to the patches here in contact. Violins 1 and 2, violas, cellos, and basses. And let's have a listen first, and then we dig a little deeper into the library. Hope you enjoy. So, as I said, just a little cue that I've put together, trying out various things. And so let's go into details first. So, first thing that I'm going to do, I used some little quantum leap spaces in the string bus. I would just switch that off so we have the plain sound of the string straight out of the box. And I'd also suggest to open another instance of contact and go from scratch there. So when you load the library, you got this. You have the 4 instruments and an ensemble instrument. So, okay, loaded the violins. This is how they pretty much start out. Modway controls volume and timbre. And down below here you can see that you got different transitions, legato or portamento, depending on the velocity you use on the note transitions. So when you play a little harder, or you play a little softer, then you have the portamento transitions. And with this little speed knob, I assume you can shorten the portamento transitions. Yeah, exactly. So you can actually match the portamento time, your song tempo. Yeah, you might be able to right click, and then you can assign any MIDI controller to the speed knob, so you can change the portamento speed on the fly within the MIDI channel. So what do we have here? We have legato, as I've mentioned. Key switch range is from C0 to G0. So when I hit C#0, we have Sordino sustains. And these are non-legato, so you get only the sustained sounds. But the cool thing is, auto divisi is enabled from the initial load state. So when I play a single note, you have all 30 violin players at once. And once I play two notes at the same time, the section splits up into 16 and 14 players. And with the violins, this is possible up to 4 different notes at a time, so you can have 2 divisi sections per violin section, like full section 1 and 2, violins 1 and violins 2 separated, 3 notes, 16, 7 and 7 players, and in the end 4 notes divided between all 4 divisi sections. So what else do we have? We have tremolos on the next one. Going on with trills. Okay, so these are scale dependent, so I assume that you can... How do you actually change the scale via MIDI? Not sure, maybe you can set that in the beginning of your song. Actually, you can get pretty nice trill effects. And it doesn't sound artificial because of the separation into the individual divisi groups. So it actually sounds pretty cool playing chords with a trill patch. And also the reaction of the mod wheel to the volume is pretty straightforward and reacts pretty good. Really like that. So I switch to C minor, and I'll play a C minor now. so that works. If I go to C major, we have a whole tone trill, and if I go to C minor on G, I have a half tone trill. So that works. Then we have half and whole for the and all scales. So going on, trills. Next one is harmonics. When I compare the legatos and the harmonics, for my taste, they seem a tad too loud compared to the sustained sounds or the legato sounds. So I might is the is the expression dependent per key switch? So when I bring that down here, for example, and go back to, oh no, okay, that's for the whole patch. So yeah, I would maybe change that controlling expression would bring that down a bit, and when I go back to sustain, I would bring expression back up to yeah. It's just a question of using MIDI CCs to control the volume within the patches. If you are willing to use just one patch, there's always the possibility to just load the individual sounds, and then you can have kind of 8 MIDI channels per ensemble, per section, like having only the legatos, only the trills, only the tremolos, etc. So anyways, besides that, the harmonics really sound great. And again, we have the Audiobro running. Really like that tone, to be honest. What do we have on the next one? Staccato. Okay, it seems the volume, so it is controllable through mod wheel. But on the highest mod wheel setting, you can still control the volume of the short notes through velocity, not only with mod wheel. So definitely makes it a little easier to play. So just crank up the mod wheel and use the keyboard velocity for the short notes. There's a repetition tool in there. I think that's okay. Using it like that, you immediately start to recognize it still has a kind of a little bit machine gun effect. Round robin, you can use continuous and random, I guess. So random. Okay, random changes the sequential order of the round robins, so that helps when you use the repetition tool, at least from the sound of it. And also, okay, I just loaded the initial patch. It seems on the shorts they haven't activated the auto divisi. Does it work for the short notes as well? Ah, okay. seems a little inconsistent to activate it on the long articulations, but not on the short ones. Well, who knows? On the spiccato as well. So back to staccato. I'm not a fan of automatic repetition. I think I can easily play Is there a sonic difference when I activate it or deactivate it? Yeah, definitely. Okay, there's a change in the sound there. What is slam? Okay, seems more like a volume control and additional spiccato. This is, yeah, F sharp 0. We'll change that to random as well. Pretty direct, the sound, so not as sharp as the original lasts. And then there's the release. Okay, bringing down the release time definitely sharpens the sound. Okay. By the way, initially it loads with a stereo mic position, so I will come to that in a bit to check out the other mic positions. Okay, this is, I can set up the section size, so I can also, well, let's try it out. So I just want to use the first violin's A section. Definitely a sonic difference between the individual sections. Okay, last but not least, there's another key switch, G0. So that's that. I'm a little bit familiar with the interface since I already own the brass series from the Symphony Series, Sound Irons brass, and so I'm used to the articulation window. So if you wonder how the hell did you know that, I know that because it's the same as with the brass. So actually we can have a look at the available articulations. Not all articulations are loaded into that initial patch. So for example, we have octaves run up. If we just change that with a pizzicato, we have runs up instead of pizzicato. They sound pretty cool, to be honest. This makes me sad that there are no rundowns. Are they tempo synced? Wow, that works. Okay, that might be a little bit too fast. Don't write in 200. Okay, seems when there's something too fast. Okay, actually the system's hanging right now. Okay, another thing, legato. There's another legato vibrato control. If we close that again and look at the legato, the available or the tweaks we can make, there's no vibrato control there, so we need to change this to legato vibrato control, and magically suddenly we have a vibrato control over here. And this has no MIDI controller activated right now, so I right click and move my knob here. Right now it's CC14, but you can assign whatever you want. Yeah, here I can change the attack time for not the attack time, the velocity for portamento and legato switch. Okay, so I can start with a non-vibrato. You can see that here. Start with a non-vibrato note and bring in the vibrato. Oh, just touch the volume fader. So yeah, actually that's it for the violins. Did I look at all articulations? Harmonic, pizzicato, spiccato, staccato, tremolo, trills. We all had that, and the octaves. Then let's check how that looks for the violas. When I look at the articulations, that's pretty much the same setup. So I won't switch to legato vibrato control now here. Just going through all the individual sounds for the viola. That works pretty well. Sordino. I just wonder right now if I would wish for a legato Sordino as well. But I'm not really missing it. think in a mixed context it works pretty well. Obviously, in Les you have legato transitions for tremolo as well, and the full Les has also legato zardinos. But this is not about Les, it's about ses, as the Audiobro guys called it themselves. Symphony Series String Ensemble. Actually, I think it would be SSSE. String Ensemble Symphony Series. Okay, whatever. The trills for the violas. And the Audiodivisi splits up between two divisi groups. I think that's consistent for pretty much every string group. Violins 1, 2, violas, cellos, and basses all have two divisi sections. And actually, there's something that I got from the tutorials that Audiobro did themselves. If you play more than two notes on a patch that only has two divisi sections, you never miss a note, it just stacks up then. Yeah, so you suddenly go from 12 to 18 viola players. So you don't want to do that. Harmonics again. The harmonics sound really great. I think I would need to turn down the release time a little bit on these. This is overall for the patch. Here we have the release length for... yeah. Really nice sound. Would rather do that with spiccato. Well, sounds like spiccato. Slam seems... well, back then in Les you had the kind of an attack control which was close to a Bartok sound. Here it seems rather like a little bit of compression and volume. And again, the Audiodivisi on the short articulations is switched off. There's a clear sonic difference when Audiodivisi is on and when it's off. So this definitely helps improve the realism with not overblowing string section sizes when you really want to try to come up with a natural string section sound and not blow things up by playing a three-part harmony and having like 36 players instead of 12 or something like that. So this definitely helps. Let's have a short look at the cellos. I won't go into detail on the sounds there. as a short run through. Okay, there's a difference. There are... Okay, the cellos have no trills. So instead of the trills, you have the octave runs up on, what is it, D sharp 0. I love the harmonics in this library. They sound absolutely great. Gorgeous. So the staccatos. Again, auto Devz is turned off on the shorts, so just switch it back on. Wow, that's a big difference between and spiccatos. Like that. And last but not least, we have the basses as they come out of the box. And since the lowest note of the basses is on C0, yeah, okay, they shifted the key switches to C4. So, Sordino, tremolos, the bass actually sounds pretty mighty. This is auto Devz, so when I play in octaves, they change to 4 players each. If I switch that off, we suddenly have 16 basses. It really gets more definition and gets less washy from the sound, if you could say that. Harmonics. Okay, here's something new. The basses have a marcato, so they have no runs and no trills. Right. But they have Bartok pizzicato. Well, one could argue, why don't they have marcato for all the other sections as well? I have no idea why it is like that, but it is like that, and I think just have to live with it. The basses definitely have some belly. And if we change that to Bartók pizzicato. I just see I can change the velocity range here for the sound. So can I? No, I can't. That would be cool if I could Bartók pizzicato on the highest velocity range on that single key switch. Maybe that works, but I have no idea how right now. Why do we not hear anything right now? Because of this. Anyway, back to the track, and I just wanted to try something else. As I've said, that was the sound as it comes straight out of the box. You have some internal settings like EQ, reverb, and compression and stuff like that. I would just like to try out, let's say, that spiccato part. The quantum loop spaces is switched off, so we only have the sound out of the box. So let's just change that to close mics on all 4 channels. Where's my mixer? There. Okay, so how does that sound like? Well, actually pretty dry. I'm just loading all the mic positions here besides the stereo mix, so we can try some things with mic levelings. That might take a little while, even from an SSD drive. Okay, we're around 4 gigs per section now, so that's definitely a little more data to load. Back to the strings and back to the interface. So we have the close mics. Actually, I'm just going to set that on loop. So the mid position and so you really can get some pretty different sonic results because the far position is really far. When I think back on Spitfire libraries, for example, so for my taste, the close position still was pretty wet, and in this case, close really means pretty dry. If you compare that to the stereo position, like that. So let's go with just the mid position for now. Initial position is at -15. Here you can see the value that actually the patch has. So yeah, -7.4. Let's do it with the mid position. Switch the others back on, so this is just mid. And far. I think I might be fast if I just unload. Just load the far. Damn it. So far alone definitely is not the way to go. But who knows, if you need some mix way back in a surround mix for the ambient mics, that might work out really well. So yeah, you can actually get some pretty great different tones with if you play with the mic positions. And back to the stereo mix, so this is what I had here. If I look at the tracks, I didn't use the key switches. Cubase has that great feature of expression maps. So I can actually define which key switches cover which articulation. So I can switch on the note. Let me just solo the violins here. It's all legato, but Devz. And switching to harmonics on these last two notes. That didn't work. Why did that not work? Okay, now it worked. Media error or something like that. And you can see here, I got the mode wheel all the way up, but the velocity is controlled. The dynamics are controlled through velocity. Okay, had that loop still running. And switch off the loop. So, coming from the spiccatos. And I could change that here if I say I want to have that staccato instead of spiccato. I can actually not change it like that, but like that. So saying here staccato. Or I can say make it pizzicato. This is pretty cool for terms of workflow, so I don't need to worry about key switches. I just define what articulation I want. And it switches back to legato in the end here. And to staccato in the end. Yeah, and regarding mixing, as I said, I just had some quantum leap spaces in the end with a dry signal 1 dB down to push it a little bit in the back, and dialed the wet signal down to -13, something like that. And so it sounds like this. Overall, I have to admit that I really like the tone of the library, the sound. It's definitely, for me at least, not something that works on its own, but it's a great, I wouldn't even say it's an entry-level library. There was another MIDI mistake again. Changed to tremolo instead of harmonics. No idea what's going on there. Okay, there's something wrong. Let's check that out. If I take a look at the interface, what key switch is actually triggered there? So we're still on legato. Okay. It says it switches to harmonics, but it plays pizzicato. This is strange. I think I'll leave it with that for now. I care about that later. Hopefully this has given a little insight on the library and kind of first hands-on. And yeah, hopefully see you next time. Hope you enjoyed it, and see you soon.